Step right up, dummies, and listen to the stupidest sports show on earth with Rodney Newpol and Tim Van Stratton. Well, hello. We've made it. They let us get to episode 5 of the stupidest sports show on earth. My name is Tim Pistol Pete Van Stratton. That's an original nickname, just mine and mine alone. Rodney Newpol, the other host of the stupidest sports show on earth, is here. He's just Rodney Newpol. There's no nickname yet. Did you have a nickname in school?
No, a lot of people will just call, and it's been both my brothers and they just call me Noop, K-N-U-P. That's what Ryan goes by. So I'm not the Noop, but that was kind of a short nickname, for all three of us boys growing up. Nickname other than that, no, not really. A lot of people called me names. Some of them weren't very good though. So some of them aren't very nice. They still do to this day. We don't need to repeat those on air tonight, but no, I'll go no nickname tonight. I'll just go my Twitter handle at Newpol Rodney.
You don't want to unpack your childhood trauma tonight? Come on, man. It's fun.
Story time. No, we're good. We got a lot of sports to talk about tonight.
Yeah, we do. They used to call me Timmy. That was what I got, but I would get like Timmy. That's just
Timmy. Come on, Timmy.
Traumatizing. Yeah, not a fan. So that's why I go by Pistol Pete now. But anyways, all that being said, it's Tim and Rodney here, episode 5 of the stupidest sports show on earth, where we are just a couple of stupid guys who love sports, who want to talk about, all the things that people want to know about. Talk about football. We talk about betting. We talk about Barry Bonds stats. Things that just it's guys being dudes. That's how I like to refer to it as. You can follow all of our foolishness at Stupid Sports Show on Twitter. No W at the end, just Stupid Sports Show with the O. And also all of our other socials, Instagram, YouTube, we're everywhere. If you're watching us right now, thank you. And don't forget, you can listen to all of us on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts in case you missed the live stream. But enough of that stuff. Let's get to the real fun topic. Rodney, there's a U.S. presidential debate going on as we record this right now. I'm wondering how many people are tuned into that. I know you did not tune in. I had to leave. It was very exciting to watch people not answer any questions, to not actually address any of the things that people want to hear. Pretty standard stuff. There is a debate segment that we're going to do later on in the show, and I promise, as an American, that Rodney and I will answer questions. We will not dodge. If Rodney asks me something, I will actually give him an answer, and I will not just throw something else totally unrelated back at him.
Yeah, no, that's going to be a good segment. I'm looking forward to that. I did not turn on the debate tonight. I had a couple other things going on. It got to be after 8 o'clock. I needed to cram for our show because it takes about, 4 minutes to get ready for the show every day. That's about an average of what I get ready for the show. I needed those 4 minutes, and then I just decided that remote's too far away, and I'm not turning that debate on. But I did, and I made this really silly mistake on social media. I asked my Facebook what they thought of the debate.
Oh, God, not the Facebook.
Yeah. So let's just go here Let's just go a few here.
You're going to read them out loud?
Waste of time. ABC is showing favor to Harris. We talked about people in Springfield, Ohio, getting their pets ate by immigrants.
Okay. Not to actually talk politics, but I saw Ted Cruz share a meme earlier today about that, and I was very confused. It's like, why is this United States senator showing a meme about Haitian immigrants eating cats? Apparently that's a thing because it was talked about on a nationally televised debate. I'm sorry, continue.
Somebody says that one of the sides admitted they are a threat to democracy.
Ooh, which one?
This person says they feel like they're watching Charlie Brown's teacher talk. This one says compassionate, thought-out responses from one side and a lot of yelling and fart noises from the other. So there we have it. The debate tonight has brought us all together via my Facebook.
It's funny because you say it like that, but yet they could be talking about a completely different person than you might think. And it's like, oh, how you're experiencing this is totally and completely different. I was going to say, what's the?
I didn't say a name on either one of those spots. I didn't say one of the candidates. This is just what they're saying.
All right. Well, if you get any Comrade Kamala in the comments or or like Orange Man or something like that, you let me know. The over under and your comments on Comrade Kamala is 0.5 right now.
Yeah,
I'm hoping
well,
that the over cashes.
yeah. Well, we got this latest one says, please don't believe most of the comments above. Do your own research. These comments are misconstrued. I will leave it at that. So I don't
Which
know.
side? Which side?
I don't know. I'm all confused. I thought Facebook was going to tell me how to vote. Apparently, that's not the case. So here I am on an island. Still, who knows? Anyways, that's the debate tonight.
All right. Now that we got that out of our system, and we are going to get to debate stuff, but the fun kind, the football kind later. We had our first NFL regular season weekend. It is in the books officially, 16 games. It was I was pleasantly surprised. I wish that Monday night was a little bit better, and I have an apology that I need to issue for many things, but that Monday night game is one of them at some point. All of the primetime games were really great matchups. The first 3 games were all awesome. Last night, not so much, but aside from that, like we watched the whole early window of games, you and I and our buddy Skeeter, and don't get me wrong, there were some good finishes, there were some comebacks, and we can just run down a little bit here. But was there a single game that we saw on Sunday before we got to Rams Lions where we were like, hell yeah, football's back, we made it? Because I'm trying to think, and I was like, they're like a couple of the scores were closer, it comes back, but we didn't really get that oh my god edge of your seat moment until Sunday night, Lions Rams going to overtime.
I mean, I guess probably the Bears Titans may have been the best noon game because of how the comeback happened for the Bears, mostly defensively and special teams, and
all defensively.
The rookie quarterback basically doing nothing and coming away with his first win. Other than that, yeah, I mean, Buffalo, I never really thought Buffalo was going to lose, and then on the other side, I never really felt like Cincinnati was going to win, and they didn't. They are obviously my number one disappointment of the week, Cincinnati. That are a lot of people's disappointment of the week. On the surprise side, I think we're both probably impressed, or I don't know. New Orleans shouldn't have done what they did to Carolina, or is Carolina just that bad? I mean, I think that's probably a little bit of both. Bad.
Yeah, I that was one of the teams, Carolina, and it was not just me. There were quite a few people that liked Carolina there, 4.5.
Yeah.
I picked the Saints to finish last place this year in the NFC South. I think both those teams are going to end up with pretty bad records.
Yeah.
But it was alarming how awful Carolina was. They have a new head coach. They have that renewed spirit, and it was over after the first play. The first throw from Bryce Young was an interception. It was gone just like that. And yeah, it was definitely as disappointed as you could be about a team that was the worst in the NFL from the previous year. It's hard to do, but yeah, they were certainly a disappointment. I'll say I think the one game that was pretty good was Texans Colts.
Yeah.
A lot of times those AFC South matchups are pretty strong. Houston pulls away with a 29-27 victory. But I have to say, and we were talking about this when we were watching, CJ Stroud, his final stat line, 234 yards, 2 touchdowns. You look at that and you say, okay, wow, CJ Stroud, great, awesome performance. 2 touchdowns, led his team to a road win against a division rival. And yes, he did have plays that were really good.
Right.
But there were also 2 interceptions, bad interceptions that were called back because of penalties.
Not related to what he did either.
Not at all related. Right.
Yeah.
So totally luck. That would have been 2 totally game-changing interceptions that he had, and he's still credited with none. And then there were a couple other throws that he had in a couple moments that were very, very questionable. So I would say that was one of those games where I was like, okay, I think I like Houston. I'm still taking them to win the division, but I'm now a little bit curious to see how CJ Stroud performs if we're in a situation where, let's say, Sunday night against the Bears, who had, of course, 2 defensive touchdowns against Tennessee, how CJ Stroud looks there, and if some of those bad throws do end up being turnovers, and then how Houston looks. Like that's something I'm really looking at.
Yeah, and I'm still fairly bullish on Houston. The problem for me is I just, they already beat Indianapolis, and we saw Tennessee not great, and then Jacksonville wasn't real good either. I mean, they had Miami, but they didn't they didn't really shine. I wouldn't say Jacksonville played all that well. I mean, they maybe played well defensively. I thought Miami was pretty poor and still got away with a win there. Miami maybe was a little distracted. Wouldn't know why. But yeah, and then I know we haven't even talked about the evening, the second slate, but I will pat myself on the back. Tampa Bay was the team I called that I thought would be one of the best offensive teams in week one, and they were pretty much the best offensive team in week one. Baker Mayfield, 4 touchdowns, got Mike Evans going. And really, that had nothing to do with Tampa Bay. That still, to me, is the Washington defense. I believe will still be the worst in the NFL. And you can bet on, I don't even know who they play in week 2 because I haven't looked yet.
Who, Washington?
Yes.
Oh, Rodney.
Your New York Giants?
My New York football Giants. Washington at home, a 1.5-point favorite against the Giants, who historically, the Giants own Washington. For as bad as the Giants are and will be forever, for whatever reason, they own Washington.
I will be playing Daniel Jones in my daily fantasy lineups.
No. Oh.
I will be playing Daniel Jones.
And who? And who with him?
Well, that's kind of what I was going to try to ask you next. Is there a guy? I mean, probably Neighbors.
All right. So, yeah, before we get, because I do actually, I have a couple thoughts on that late afternoon slate. Yeah. I'll say this about the Giants. There is a lot of deserved criticism for Daniel Jones right now. This is my fear. My fear is, through no fault of their own, Joe Shane and Brian Dable are going to be shown the door after this season, and it's going to be because of Daniel Jones. Yeah. I'd like to say right now, the Giants can be a last-place team. I would not fire Joe Shane. I would not fire Brian Dable. I believe that the issues always come back to Daniel Jones. I think that not only is his inability to run the offense right now just totally stopping everyone dead in their tracks, but it also it is such a deflation to the defense and them constantly being on the field. Like, there are talented players on that team. This is not a garbage roster by any means. Like, you look at, they got Brian Burns, they got Bobby Okereke, Dexter Lawrence is one of the best defensive linemen in the NFL. Like, there are players on that defense. Offense, they have Malik Neighbors, who's going to be great. Like Wan'Dale Robinson, who I think that's probably Daniel Jones's most likely target right now if you were going to put him with anyone. Like, they have good players. Andrew Thomas is one of the 5 best left tackles in football. They have good players. The offensive line actually played well. But, like, if your quarterback is that bad, everything falls apart. And I think just no one has confidence, and it's just deflating everything. Like, he himself is responsible for about 90% of the Giants' problems in my mind right now. And I think if they lose to Washington, and Daniel has another game that is it doesn't have to be Minnesota bad, but if it's not good against that pass defense, which was the worst in the NFL by a mile last year, I can't see how you go into Cleveland with Daniel again. I think it's got to be Drew Lock. Like,
what if I tell you they score 30 plus points?
But that's the thing. Like, they could, because it's Washington. Good, and that would be on brand. It would be, oh, Daniel Jones is back. They look great. And then they go to Cleveland and they get their ass kicked against Myles Garrett and whoever else, which is likely. And then they got Dallas in week 4. So it's like, I could see that happening for sure, which is why I'm saying if Daniel Jones is bad against Washington, like maybe the one team that he can consistently perform against, then it's over. Like, I think it's already over, but like, then it's over. Like, I don't know how you justify it.
Yeah, no, you're probably right. I am going to go against the Washington defense, and I know we can get to Friday and make this pick, but I will be taking your New York Giants on Sunday.
So the 4 games late afternoon, we're going to pivot off the Giants before I get a neck thing.
Yeah, we'll be on this for 3 hours. We
had Chargers soundly defeated the Raiders 22-10. Welcome back, Jim Harbaugh. I mean, run the football. J.K. Dobbins, welcome back. Have a day, 135 yards on the ground. That was really nice to see, given his injury history. I don't know if I'm all in on the Chargers. We both kind of said ass, but just because of the roster, I feel like Harbaugh can only take them so far. But I think what we saw was probably a good sign that they are going to be competitive this year. Like, they're not gonna lose 63-21 the way they did with Brandon Staley last year, basically.
And I think one thing you can take away from the Chargers, I'm not sure how much fantasy value they're going to have this year,
Well,
because
Dobbins. I mean,
Dobbins.
besides Dobbins, yeah, like
Yeah.
their running back situation, I think that's a value. But yeah, I don't think Herbert or any of the receivers are going to do much for you.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. In the passing game, like I'm mostly thinking like daily lineups. Yeah, if you have Dobbins in there, but playing Herbert with a receiver probably isn't going to get you very far.
The other game, well, there's three more. So we kind of talked about Commanders Buccaneers a little bit. Yeah, Baker Mayfield looked great. Nearly 300 yards, 4 touchdowns. Uh, it was against Washington, but the guy's good. Like he's a good quarterback. I
Yes.
don't know. He's not Super Bowl, but he earned his contract. But Tampa Bay, I think, made the right decision to resign him to a 3-year deal, and I think that they should be in the mix. I don't know where that is. I don't know if that's winning the division. I don't know if that's a wild card, whatever. But they should be in the mix.
Yeah.
Broncos Seahawks was. Oh, go ahead.
And in the NFC South, Tampa
Right.
Bay is going to be in the mix. There's absolutely no doubt. I mean, New Orleans beating Carolina, great, but then Carolina's terrible, and Atlanta didn't look all that good either. So, yes, Tampa Bay will definitely be in the mix in NFC South.
Yeah, we didn't really talk much about Atlanta, that Atlanta Pittsburgh game. That's a bad start for the Kirk Cousins era, and already you have a lot of Falcons fans that are like, "Oh, I don't know about this," because he was Cousins a statue in there where there was no mobility. They didn't design anything that required him to move. I think maybe there's still some issues about the injury that he's coming off of. It's the same injury that Aaron Rodgers is coming back from, except Kirk Cousins suffered his way later in the season.
Yeah.
So it's they are really trying to limit him. So as a result, it limits the offense, and the defense is like, okay, we don't have to plan for him escaping the pocket. Like we know exactly what is going to be happening here. And it seemed like Pittsburgh and TJ Watt, they just absolutely feasted off of him. Like, of course that they're going to be able to do that. And they got Philadelphia now. They got to go on the road for Monday night at the Eagles. Like that's a realistic 0-2 start for the Falcons.
Oh, big time. And that was a typical Mike Tomlin coached game, especially week one. Like you knew they were going to be prepared, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, no one needs to be surprised at what Pittsburgh did in week one. I thought it was impressive though to go with Justin Fields kind of last minute there. And I know it may not have been last minute, but he managed the game and they came away with a win.
I know we're kind of bouncing around a little bit. Caleb Williams, are we worried? How are we feeling? Because we know a lot of Bears fans, and it's not just Bears fans, it's football fans have proclaimed Caleb Williams as the guy.
Yeah. And
I don't think it's fair to say, oh, the first game of his NFL career was this bad, but I bet that there's an inkling of, oh, I really wish he would have done better. Like if I was a Bears fan, I'm watching that saying like, why couldn't you have just done a little bit better than that? Because he didn't throw it all in the middle of the field. He had less than 100 yards passing. He had a couple throws that looked really nice, but I think accuracy was an issue again, and there was a lot of accuracy struggles in the preseason as well. So like, is there like, have you gone from 100% confident that he's going to be great to like 98%? Has anything changed? Like, where are you at there?
Well, if I'm a Bears fan, I probably just kind of flush the Caleb Williams performance because they did win. And in the NFL, let's be honest, Tim, that's really what matters is winning games. Right. I mean, if he struggles and they go 12-5, like, okay, we're that good. Like we okay, he's fine. He's going to be back for year two, and maybe he improves. But so you kind of flushed week one. I want to see more. I want to see what happens in Houston. I wouldn't say my percent really went down. He wasn't awful. I mean, he wasn't throwing the ball away awful, I guess is what I'm saying. Like he wasn't Daniel.
He wasn't Will Levis awful. Like
he wasn't Will Levis awful.
Yeah.
He wasn't Jayden Daniels, Kansas Jayhawks awful. He just didn't play well. Really, that's really about all it was to it. He didn't play well, but he didn't hurt his team. To me, you flush it and you move on to week two. And it's a big game against Houston for him because it's going to be in front of all the eyeballs, a standalone game. And Houston's a team that's probably going to be in the playoffs or at least contending for the playoffs. And now with Green Bay kind of maybe out of the picture, we're going to talk about them a little bit later. Chicago's got a great chance for that, for the 2 seed in the NFC North, not seed, but the second position in the division. If not one, if they can't beat Detroit. But I flush it if I'm Chicago.
All right. 3 more games that I want to hit for week one. Cowboys-Browns.
Yeah.
When I went through, right. So when I went through, and we both, for what it's worth, we like the Cowboys in this game.
Yeah.
I picked the Cowboys to win. I like them. I didn't understand why the Browns were favorites, but so be it. But When I went through and I did my season predictions and the win totals, I think I had Cleveland sitting at 10, 11 wins, something around there, a playoff team, right?
Yeah.
I one game in, and granted, it was against the Dallas Cowboys, who look like they're going to have a really good defense again under Mike Zimmer. That said, Deshaun Watson is so bad.
Yeah, not good.
And not only is he bad at quarterback, he's just a bad dude. And
Yeah.
and like I'll just say it right now. He should not be playing in the National Football League.
Yeah.
For a multitude of reasons.
Yeah.
And like the latest lawsuit that's come up against him, like if you read the details about that thing, like that's not just like, oh, this is a minor thing, whatever. Like that shit is bad. Like it is really, really bad. And it's one of those things where you just read that and it's like, how did the Browns justify trading for him, giving up what they did, signing him to this extension? It is. I don't think this is hyperbole. It is the worst contract in sports.
Yes, I agree with you. And you said he's not. He's a bad dude. Let's just call it like he is. He's a grade A asshole. I mean,
right.
He really is.
Right. Like there is more than enough evidence to support that, and there's still more that's coming in to say that. And on top of it, and at the end of the day, the things happening off the field are much more important than what happens in a football game. But like we talk about it from the sports perspective, right? That's the whole point of our show. But like he's bad. Like he's a bad quarterback. He can't throw down the field. Like he looked like shit. Like Cleveland is not going to get anywhere with him. And if I'm them, I'm playing Jameis Winston moving forward. I think Jameis Winston gives you a much better chance to win, especially with your weapons that you have with Judy, with Cooper.
Yeah, your entertainment value goes way up with Jameis Winston. He might throw 5 interceptions, but he might throw 7 touchdowns with it too. I mean, you're going to play in more entertaining games. Now, I obviously understand the contract, and eating that contract is going to be for Cleveland. But yeah, I mean, it's going to. Yeah, I'm with you.
Well, here's the thing too. If they're depending on what happens, with this whole lawsuit that was just filed and these new charges, right? Like there may be a way for Cleveland to avoid this.
Yeah. I mean, that's probably what they're hoping for at this
That's
point.
probably like secretly, like they would never say it, but like right, like they gotta be like.
Yeah. I mean, then it still comes down to Kevin Stefanski still playing him, and we'll play him in week 2, and we'll see how long he continues to play him. But you're right. I mean, they got Jameis Winston for a reason. Play the dude. I would like to see him play.
Rams Lions, on a much lighter note, for all of the bad vibes that are happening in Cleveland, it's the exact opposite in Detroit. I was watching the game and I was like, man, like Ford Field, prime time, like it was freaking awesome. It was by far and away my favorite like football atmosphere, more than Kansas City on Thursday night, more than anywhere else that we saw. Like that is the place to have a football game this year. And the game was great. The Lions got off to a good start. The Rams came out and responded. I credit to the Rams. They lose Puka. They get injuries on the offensive line, but yet they come back. Stafford looked great. Cooper Kupp, welcome back. I don't know why people were writing him off. He looked amazing. But Detroit did what they had to do. Jahmyr Gibbs is an absolute stud. And they were able to do it with very little Amon-Ra St. Brown. Sam Laporta with just a few catches. I mean, it was really just we're going to pound the rock with Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. And that's, to me, that's going to be Detroit's identity all year. They're going to be we're going to run the ball down your freaking throat, whether you like it or not. We're going to give you Montgomery. We're going to give you Gibbs. Both of them are going to have insane fantasy value all year.
Yeah. And Jameson Williams was good for Detroit, the one guy in the passing game. My takeaway on the other side is the Rams are still very well coached. And will contend to win games. They may be one of those that falls a little short a lot, be right in games, and lose and find themselves out of the playoff race because of that reason. They still have the pieces. I mean, Matthew Stafford can still sling it. I thought he looked pretty good for week 1, to be honest with you. Kyren Williams is still a pretty solid back. You've got Cooper Kupp. Now, obviously, with Puka out, that's going to hurt. But, I mean, that was my takeaway is the Rams are still well coached. And kind of on a lighter note, rest in peace, Rams +5 because of the overtime. Yeah, I love that. They were up. I really just wanted Detroit to win it in regulation. Just score the touchdown, win by 4, and we're happy ever after. But no, they had to go to overtime and then march down the field. Even if they didn't score, they kick a field goal and then they stop the Rams. I still win. But no, that's not how it works.
Isn't it so funny though? Like They get to overtime and they run the same play, just David Montgomery up the middle, and every single run he had was like 12 yards, 15 yards. Like they did it effortlessly.
Yeah. Yeah. I was in our group text.
You were triggered.
Every play.
You were triggered.
Ramsden there. What you could, I mean, it was one of those though. Like, to be honest, like, we've all seen games where like the writing's on the wall here. The writing is on the wall. It's going to happen. Now, it doesn't happen a lot in the NFL because there is a lot of drama of like, oh man, I thought they were going to score. And then, they went back 15 yards and then they booted, they didn't score. But like the writing was on the wall. Detroit got the ball and said, okay, we're running again, and we're going to score on you. And the writing was on the wall. Detroit was going to win. They did. And, but you're right. Probably the best game in week 1.
I agree. And it's funny, Detroit, my Super Bowl pick to win. There have been years and years and years of evidence to back this up that type of game. Normally the Lions are on the losing end of that type of game in that situation. But
it's the fact Dan Campbell effect though, right?
No, it's Dan Campbell, it's Goff, it's everything. It's a completely different Detroit Lions than you and I have ever experienced in our lives.
Yeah.
Like now it's like we don't associate them with losing. We're like, oh yeah, that team, of course they're gonna go down the field against a Super Bowl winning coach and take the game away from him and win and cover. Of course they're gonna do that. They're the Lions. Why wouldn't they? Like that's how we view them now.
Do you know what the craziest thing I heard about from that game the other night, the Lions-Rams game? The craziest stat I heard all night in that game. Did you know what this is?
No.
That the neighbors next door, the Detroit Tigers, were only 3 games out of the wild card. I had no idea. No idea. It was one of the Collinsworth or one of those guys was like, yeah, Detroit Tigers playing good baseball right now. Only 3 games out of the wild card. I'm like, wait a second. I looked it up and they're 3 games out of the wild card. Anyways, that's enough baseball for the show. But Detroit Tigers, 3 games out of the wild card with 17 to go.
I'm stunned.
I'm stunned. They're 74 and 71. They're better than my team. They're a lot better than your team.
Are you sure that this isn't that you're not reading the standings from 1984?
Right. Yeah. I mean, there's 4 teams in the American League Central that are in competing. Like what? Wait, what?
A division, by the way, that I think every baseball fan would have said is the worst division in baseball going in.
But they're all beaten up on the White Sox. They're all like,
right. And I'm pretty sure I saw the stat too, where the combined run differential is in the negative in that division just because of the White Sox.
Well, the White Sox are minus 309.
Yeah, and we don't have to get the whole thing, but like, I don't think Cleveland, Kansas City, Minnesota, Detroit are all that positive. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if one of them even has a negative one. Like, if Detroit still had a negative one,
they're roughly plus 200.
Like collectively,
yeah, 77, 96, 33, and 39.
Yeah, I'm not doing that math. That's for nerds. We'll have a nerd do it. But yeah, no, the White Sox, it's the division's a minus. We're gonna look in history and be like, wow, that whole division's so bad. Like how badly they were outscored, and then we're gonna take a closer look and see. Did you see the stat, by the way, I share with you? Sorry to get off topic here. As of today, I don't know what the White Sox game looked like tonight. As of today, since and I got to pull this up because I want to be official here. Since March 1st, the Chicago White Sox have won 33 games.
Oh.
Hold on. In that same span, since March 1st, the Boston Celtics of the NBA have won 34 games.
Oh.
The Boston Celtics have one more win since March 1st than the Chicago White Sox, who play 162 Major League Baseball games.
And the Celtics haven't played.
Season.
Celtics haven't played for like 10 weeks. Yeah.
What?
Just so in case you were wondering, Guardians 5, White Sox 0 final.
So it continues.
33 and 113.
Holy cow. That's amazing. All right. And then last one real quick, Jets 49ers. I loved the Jets going in. When I saw McCaffrey was ruled out with 90 minutes to go, which the 49ers are going to get fined for that. That was they misled a lot of people, it sounds like. I was like, this should help the Jets, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Jets jetted up. And sure enough, the 49ers seemed like they handled it no problem. Were you scared at all in the first quarter when the Jets took the lead? They had that really nice touchdown drive.
Yes, very triggered as a good-sized bet on the San Francisco 49ers. Yes, very triggered, especially after the Sunday night debacle. I'm like, all right, well, there that one goes. 7-3 Jets.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, from that point on, it was all 49ers. They gave a stat of like 8 straight drives with score points. Now, 6 of them, of course, were Jake Moody and his field goals. But yeah, I was a little concerned at 7-3. And we're going to talk more about the Jets. But I mean, and the announcers mentioned this. Like, are we surprised, though, that Kyle Shanahan was challenged and lived up to the challenge of having his team ready to play? I'm not surprised by that.
No,
it doesn't surprise me. And I
very
mean,
good
it wasn't like Brock Purdy wowed us. It was they ran the ball like crazy. And then when they didn't run the ball, they found the open receivers, period.
There were a lot of open receivers. I kind of agree with you. Brock Purdy made the throws that he had to. And if you look at a lot of those throws, guys were wide open. Like, I don't know what the Jets were doing on defense, but it was pretty easy for Purdy to find those throws. And, you know, Ayuk, Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, it helps to have those guys. But, man, they seemed like they had all day against what was supposed to be a pretty good Jets secondary. But, yeah, rough going for the Jets. Aaron Rodgers looked 40. You know, it's the first game in like 2 years. It's kind of tough for him, but yeah, we're going to talk more of the Jets. Real quick, Rodney, we have, you know, best bets for betting to get to. We also have a special debate themed segment that we're going to unveil on the first night of the presidential debates. But real quick, something that we talked about, I want to say our first week of doing the show, were stupid fantasy leagues. And you're currently in a stupid fantasy league that still, after week 1 is done, is still drafting. You were still drafting players for this league. And one of the players that you drafted on Sunday, you went deep into your bag. You pulled from all of your expertise, and you took a guy who just scored a 60-yard touchdown in Alec Pierce.
How about this?
Tell the people what happened. What happened with this Alec Pierce thing and why he's your fantasy hero?
Yeah, so we showed up Sunday morning, and dudes were like, "Hey, can I just skip ahead?" Now, keep in mind, like, this is not their pick. And they're like, "Hey, can I pick ahead? I don't have a tight end for today." And I'm like, absolutely not. Like, but of course, our bleeding heart commissioner was like, well. Anyways, it ended up being where, like, guys were picked. They got their defense, even though our commissioner has been telling people for a week, hey, this may not finish before the start of the season. You need to make sure you have your defense and your kicker, because you're going to get to Sunday and we need to have your starters ready. Well, they didn't. Anyway, so then they started debating on, okay, how's this going to work? And our commissioner said, well, yes, you can pick players that are playing and you can still start them this week. So I have Tyler Lockett starting, because Tyler Lockett, pretty decent player, probably a decent fantasy player. He's the 305 slate. I'm sitting there at Buffalo Wild Wings, 1 o'clock. Alec Pierce scores a touchdown. Great. Alec Pierce, great. 60-yard touchdown. 5 minutes later, it's my pick. And I go through and I'm like, hey, they just told me we can play somebody. What do I do? Okay. I want Alec Pierce and I want to sit Tyler Lockett, because it's you can still sit dudes at 1 o'clock for your 3 o'clock game. So I took Alec Pierce. What does he do? He scores 24 points. What did Tyler Lockett do? He scored 11 points.
That's a six for 77.
That's a 13-point
not
difference.
Alec Pierce.
That's a 13-point difference. I won by 11. So what happened? Alec Pierce's points did the difference. 100% the difference. And it's to nobody's fault but our commissioner. I mean, first of all, let's not go there. But anyways,
well, no, it's not just the commissioner. It's the whole idea of having these long, drawn out, multi-week drafts that have 30 roster spots. The season has happened. Everyone has played a game. There are guys that are hurt. There are guys that you're seeing their role. That's not how fantasy should work. Fantasy should be everything is done before the season starts. That is the point. Okay.
Yeah, like literally, I'm probably going to have a pick tomorrow, and my choices are going to be like Tim Tebow or Colin Kaepernick. I mean, that's basically what's going to be left. Like, who did I tell you? Oh, Spencer Rattler was picked today. Spencer Rattler. Like, okay, that might be a good pick in 2029, but like, he's not seeing the field this year. Yeah, so dumb. So dumb. But anyway, Alec Pierce, you my guy. Thank you, Alec Pierce. I'm thinking about cutting him, though.
He's probably projected for like 4 points this week. Like, he's not going to do that again.
No, he's not. I'm not playing. I'm not starting him. Are you kidding me? Who knows? I might be able to draft somebody Sunday that had already scored.
All right, let's I'm not looking forward to this segment here. It's best bets for betting recap. We're going to transition here. Last Friday, Rodney and I each gave our 4 favorite bets for betting. These are ones that we said, follow at your own risk. Now, I'll say the first week that we did this, we did 3 college games. We each went 2-1. We were feeling pretty good, feeling pretty confident. I might have to make a statement after this. Let's start. Your first best bet for betting from last week was Texas, 7-point favorite against Michigan. I also love Texas there. It was not close.
Nope.
From the start, the Longhorns absolutely destroyed them. And at no point was Michigan in that game. It was an easy win, no sweat. Texas, I think we both probably still agree Georgia's the number 1 team in the country. Is Texas right behind them?
Yes, they're 2.
I mean, they looked really good. Quinn Ewers looked good. And I think officially it almost sounds like Harbaugh plus McCarthy plus all of the NFL guys that were on that team might have had some contribution to them being as great as they were last year. And it's not there this year for Michigan. All right. My first best bet for betting was Falcons. I had them at 3. I don't know where the line closed. It might have moved a little bit more to like 4 or 4.5 even
but
once they rolled Russell Wilson out and Justin Fields came in. Now, here's the funny thing too about the Falcons. And of course it was a loss. Okay. The Falcons lost 18-10. The Falcons did not give up a touchdown. Okay. The Steelers were one of 2 teams to not score a touchdown in week 1, the Giants being the other. But I think the more disappointing part, like if you would have said they hold the Steelers to no touchdowns, that would have been like amazing. Awesome. But if you said, oh, by the way, they also scored 10 points and Kirk Cousins looks bad and Drake London has like 2 catches, I would have some issues there. Kyle Pitts, though, he got a touchdown. I think a lot of fantasy owners were happy, but the Falcons, a team that we both picked to win the NFC South, took the L, and I took the L, my first bet for betting. Another bird. The Eagles were a 2-point favorite on Friday night against the Packers. This was Rodney's second best bet, and he nailed it. The Eagles, 34-29. It was a good game, a close game, back and forth. Green Bay had a chance late to take the lead, but the Eagles held on. Saquon Barkley, 3 touchdowns in his Philadelphia debut. The Eagles, you're feeling good about them still. I believe they were your pick to win the Super Bowl.
Bingo. Yes, sir. Yeah. They still are.
All right, my number 2. The Bills. Now, the Bills were 6.5. They ended up winning by 6. This is where Vegas shows that they're really, really good at this. I was surprised that the Cardinals came out as hot as they did. Now, Buffalo, it was third quarter where they pretty much took the lead and it looked like they were going to win by double digits, but then Arizona was able to score a bit in the fourth quarter and get it close. There was actually, and I don't know, we didn't notice the clip when we were watching, Marvin Harrison Jr. late in the game was wide open on a play that would have been a go-ahead touchdown for Arizona, and Kyler just completely missed him, didn't even look his direction. That would have made the bet look even worse. Yeah. All that being said, Bills minus 6.5 did not cash. That's 0 for 2 for me. But I feel better because Rodney's third best bet for betting, he took the Cincinnati Bengals, an 8.5-point favorite against the New England Patriots. Not only did the Bengals fail to cover the spread, they lost at home to the Patriots. Yeah, what happened there?
Joe Burrow wasn't very good, and they couldn't run the football. So that's a bad mix. And you got to be a little bit concerned about Cincinnati heading into week 2. Kansas City up this week.
I said this was the rare must-win week 1 game. In that division, you cannot lose at home to the Patriots in your first game of the season.
Bad loss. It's
gonna be tough. And this is a team that I liked, right? And I picked them to go to the Super Bowl. I'm already having doubts, but gotta roll with it for now and root for my boy Jackpot Joey. My third best bet was the Commanders. This was a team that I really liked in this matchup. I liked Jaden Daniels, and we're going to talk about him a little bit later. But Tampa Bay, as you predicted, put the gas on. Baker Mayfield was great. The offense exploded, and it was blowout city. Washington wasn't really close to covering this 3.5 points at any time, really. So that's another loss for me. That's bad.
0-3, Tim.
Just wait, friend. And then Rodney's final fourth best bet for betting, the Rams, plus 4.5. It looked good, but then overtime happened. David Montgomery happened. Dan the Man Campbell happened. And the Lions end up winning the game 26-20. So that was a bad loss. We talked about it earlier. You don't have to.
I got no comment on this one.
Can I have no comment on my last one as well? My last best bet was Jets, not to cover, not like they covered anyway, but I had the Jets winning straight up at San Francisco in Aaron Rodgers' first game in 2 years against the.
Do you ever start thinking, God, that was really dumb, man?
Okay. Again, Zach Wilson led them to a Monday night win against Buffalo last year. Aaron Rodgers is better than Zach Wilson. Super Bowl runner-ups. This was only the 6th time since 2000 that a Super Bowl loser has covered. I think they were 5-19 against the spread going into last night. So, I had reasons.
Yes, I understand that. But when you're done with a bet, do you ever think, God, that was really dumb? That was really dumb.
Of course.
I really, literally thought the New York Jets were going to waltz into San Francisco and beat the defending NFC champions.
Yeah. Once they started playing football, I realized how bad of a mistake it was.
Yeah. I've done that often. No worries.
All right. So just to recap here, Rodney now through 2 weeks has an impressive 4-3 record in his best bets for betting. That's called profit, my friend. I don't know if it's a good thing to be one of the hosts of the stupidest sports show on earth and have this record. I'm now 2-5 after going 0-4 for week 1. Holy crap. Just bad.
It's time to bounce back.
And here's the thing, like the other ones I would have suggested besides those, I would have had the Panthers. I liked the Giants. Who else would I take? The Bears I liked, and the Bears covered. There were a few others. I feel like the Dolphins I like to cover. They didn't. The Panthers, I don't know if I mentioned them already, but yeah, it's.
Well, it was like 1:30 in the afternoon, and I looked at you and I said, Tim, if all 8 of these games stop right now, I'm 0-8 straight up.
Yeah.
No spreads, just simply picking the winners of these games. I'm 0-8, Tim. I ended up probably like 4-4 or something. I had some of the, like Miami, Chicago. I actually did get Pittsburgh. So yeah, it ended up being 4-4 or whatever, but 0-8 in the third quarter of the games. That just shows you where we're at with the NFL. Like, you just never know.
All right, let's move on to something a little bit lighter. Debate. Embrace debate.
So I request these debates like 2 minutes each.
You want to go 2 minutes? I was going to say 1 minute, but we can do 2 minutes.
Well, 1 minute's just fine. I need my caffeine or something, and I think you have an unfair advantage because you're younger and you're able to stay up a little bit later. I'm just trying to make excuses here, just as the presidents do about the debate. I'm a little uneasy on answering these questions.
Right. Now we clarified at the beginning of the show that for debate night, in honor of the first presidential debate happening as we're recording this, actually, it might be over though at this point, where instead of dodging all of the questions, we're actually going to try to answer the questions. We're going to talk about the issues that real hardworking Americans want to know about, like topic number 1. Will the Packers survive without Jordan Love?
No one survives without Love. Absolutely,
without Love. That's correct. But without Jordan Love, I'll let you go first here. How the Packers are going to fare? Now, I'll preface this by saying it seems like they got the best case scenario with this Jordan Love injury. It went from potential season ending to only going to be a few weeks to Matt LaFleur saying that he is not even going to be put on the IR right now. So that being said, though, he is going to miss some time. The Packers have the Lions to worry about. They got the Bears to worry about. Maybe the Vikings, Sam Darnold. I'll let you start. Will the Packers survive without Jordan Love?
No, the Green Bay Packers are cooked already. They are not going to survive without Jordan Love. They do not have a viable backup, whoever they want to put out there. They do not have it. They are in trouble. I don't know as if Josh Jacobs is the right answer for them at running back. their receivers have been fine, but they're such a mixed match group that there isn't one dude that's going to say, hey, this is my team. This is my receiving core. They all just kind of are there. One time it's this guy, one time it's that guy. No, the Green Bay Packers will not survive without Love.
Now, I will go on the other end, as one likes to do during a debate, and I will say the Packers will be fine without Jordan Love. Now, Malik Willis is the new backup. The one sort of hesitation I have about Malik Willis is the Packers acquired him late. And that means less time to really get, involved with the playbook. I think that we're going to see a pretty conservative offense. I think you're going to see a lot of Josh Jacobs down the stretch. Now, Josh Jacobs started off the game on Friday really bad, but seemed to really get his legs under him as the game went on. We started to see him get more and more comfortable. I think that you're going to see him sort of break out as it goes on. That's important because I want to run down the Packers, and let's say Jordan Love's going to miss the next 4 weeks. Okay, week 2, they're at home against the Indianapolis Colts, a team that got lit up by Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon ran all over them. I think that Josh Jacobs could have a big day against the Colts, and I think that could really help the Packers. Week 3, they play the Tennessee Titans. It's Malik Willis's former team, so he's very familiar with them. But also, we just saw the Tennessee Titans lose a game that they were up by 17 points and lost despite their opponent not even scoring an offensive touchdown. It's a bad team. Will Levis is bad, and I think Green Bay's defense can absolutely run all over them. And then you have back at home against a Minnesota Vikings team. Not only is it a division rival that you historically do very well against, I still don't think Minnesota is going to be very good. And I think that we're going to see that that's very obvious here within the next couple weeks. And then you're at the Rams. That might be a tough game, but Matt LaFleur, Sean McVay, very familiar with each other. They kind of know sort of the game plan. I think the Rams have injury issues themselves as well. And then you have Arizona in week 6. Like, that is a very winnable stretch for the Packers these next few weeks. Like, it is a very good thing that Jordan Love's injury happened this early as opposed to in the middle of the season, late in the season, especially as playoff races are really starting to unfold. I think the Packers are going to be fine. They win. I'll say they win 3 of their next 5 games without Jordan Love.
I'll go 2 and 3, and I'll go back to next week. I told you I'm playing Daniel Jones. I'm also playing Jonathan Taylor because he runs all over the Green Bay. He may do the same thing Saquon Barkley did. 3 touchdowns.
Right. He's a very good running back, but I think Josh Jacobs could have a day. But we like both running backs. A lot of old school football there for Sunday's Colts Packers game. Number 2, Jaden Daniels. Now, it was not a great day for any of the rookie quarterbacks on Sunday. Caleb Williams, we mentioned, less than 100 yards. Bo Nix, I don't think, threw a pass that went longer than 1.5 yards. Jaden Daniels, by his stat line, probably had the best day. Has this elevated him to the new favorite for Rookie of the Year, or are you taking someone else, Rodney?
No, I'm not taking Jalen Daniels as the Rookie of the Year. Now, he is second according to odds. I can look at FanDuel. He's plus 430. Caleb Williams is still plus 150. It's still Caleb Williams to me. I guess he wasn't real good. He will be. And now another person to consider is Xavier Worthy at 11-1. He did have 2 touchdowns. Now, obviously, his will depend on Patrick Mahomes, but it's not like it's an MVP where a receiver that catches a ton of touchdowns will get trumped by his quarterback. Patrick Mahomes isn't going to be a rookie. So I like Xavier Worthy there at 11-1, and I even like Caleb Williams at plus 150. So to answer your question on this debate, America, no, Jalen Daniels is not the ROTY favorite.
Wrong. Fake news. Rodney's fake news. Jaden Daniels is the favorite. He is the person who right now, as of today, I will say will be the Rookie of the Year. So we have to look at the good and the bad. I'll start with the bad for a second with Jaden Daniels. There are, of course, the injury issues, and I think that the amount of hits he takes is going to be the one sort of detractor, what prevents him from putting up a really good rookie stat line. But he's on the road in his first week against a team that won the division last year, that made it to the second round of the playoffs. So a pretty good team that he's facing. That's a few years removed from a Super Bowl. He goes 17 of 24, very efficient. He only took a couple sacks. The offensive line is, still a little bit shaky, but he has the speed that he's able to evade. But on the ground, 16 carries, 88 yards, and 2 touchdowns. That type of dual threat ability is going to be really, really valuable. And we're going to look at the end of the year and we're going to say, oh, wow, this is a guy who could run for 1,000 yards as a rusher, be pretty efficient under pocket. Like it's going to come down to what his turnovers are, but I don't think that we're going to see a ton of interceptions from him because I think that he is going to be one of those run first quarterbacks. I think that we're going to look and we're going to see a pretty good stat line and they're willing to give him as much leash as he needs. I think the one thing I'd like to see is a little bit more of a connection with Terry McLaurin, but I saw enough there to where I'm like, yeah, I think this guy could end up pretty solid for them. So yeah, I would say right now today, Jaden Daniels is my rookie of the year pick.
I mean, I guess the only thing he's got going for him is he's going to need to score a bunch of points because that defense is dog shit. They're dog
right.
shit.
Like it's one of those things. It's like Sam Howell last year. It was Thanksgiving, and Sam Howell was the league leader in passing yards. Like no one would say Sam Howell's good. He's a backup right now. He's not a starting quarterback, and he was a leader going into December. So like that's part of the reason as well. And it's going to be those stats. So is Jaden Daniels going to be the best quarterback in this class? I'm not sure. Caleb Williams probably still going to be, but is he the rookie of the year favorite? I think the numbers are going to work very well in his favor. Final one, and this I think is the one that Rodney and I are going to debate on the most here. Topic number 3, the New York Jets. They were not great at San Francisco, and the simple topic that Americans want to know: are the Jets cooked?
Yeah, the Jets are cooked. The Jets were cooked before week 1 even started. The Jets are the most overrated, most overhyped team in the National Football League, and that to me is not even there's not even a debate for second place in that. The most overrated, most overhyped. Breece Hall, fine. Garrett Wilson, fine. But outside of that, what really excites us about their skill players offensively? I don't see it. Defensively, we saw San Francisco. Now, granted, San Francisco is a very good team and a very systematic running back scheme. You know, they got Mason in there. They didn't need McCaffrey, all that. But their defense, who was supposed to be good, was not very good. And what have we ever seen out of Robert Saleh that makes us think, man, that guy's going to be a good coach? That guy's a really good head coach. I don't see it. I don't see the construction of that team being a championship or even a championship contending team. And God knows, I mean, Aaron Rodgers he's not him. Now, his rapport with Alan Lazard, of course, was there. And the second one was late in the game, but not buying the New York Jets. Yes, America, the New York Jets are cooked.
See, what my opponent wants you to believe is that the New York Jets just don't have it, that they should just pack up and go home, that this is not going to be a team that has anything to play for, will have no meaningful games. But I want to talk to you, America. I want you to look at me right now and believe in the New York Jets, because one bad week is not going to change what we see with the Jets as the season goes on. You mentioned some of those players, Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson. They're not just good players. They are great players. It's a bona fide number 1 running back. It's a bona fide number 1 wide receiver. There is talent on both sides of the football. And this, I'll say 2 things. Number 1, the first game at San Francisco against the defending champs, it's tough. It's tough. I was very bullish on them going in. I shouldn't have been. My apologies. That said, Tennessee, New England, Denver, Minnesota are their next 4 opponents.
That's not very good.
No, like it is a very easy schedule. Their 2 biggest competitors in the AFC East. It's a Dolphins team that had to come back against the Jaguars and barely won by 3 points. It was a last-second field goal at home. And the Bills team that had to come back against the Cardinals at home that was down early, that seemed like it was Josh Allen having to do all of the work himself. Like Miami and Buffalo are flawed football teams. I'm not here to say that the Jets are without their flaws, and we'll see how a 40-year-old Aaron Rodgers is able to hold up during the whole season. But there is enough doubt for their competitors for me to say, you know what, I think the Jets could still be in that playoff conversation when it's all said and done. I still see a 10-win team at least out of them, and I think the next few weeks we'll start to have differing opinions on the Jets. But I am telling you, America, do not give up on the Jets. They are not cooked like my opponent is trying to tell you. They are the ones doing the cooking.
I'll challenge you to a game of golf. No, I won't.
No, that no one wants to see that.
Yeah, no.
No one wants to see that. Your handicap's so bad. It's the worst I've ever seen.
The worst. You can't even hit 100 yards.
Slicing Rodney, that's what they call him. He loves to slice. He's looking for the ball, always in the woods.
At least I walked the course. Anyways.
I do like walking the course, especially during fall, but I will not do it during the summer. I'll say that much. It is
too hot.
Oh God, it's way too hot. Yeah. It's not fun. Like it has a time and a place. I'll walk a course when the conditions are right for it, but like just be a man and take a cart, when it's like 90 plus outside.
Gotcha.
See, that's what we agree on. But to wrap up the show here, let's do a quick Barry Bonds stat of the day. I know we don't like talking about baseball. We've kind of soured on it, especially with football being back. But we've decided that at the end of every stupid sports show, the stupidest sports show, we will talk about one Barry Bonds stat that makes our mind go. It's the best way I can really describe it. I brought one to the party today. I think Rodney will get one for episode 6. But this is one that I saw just today, actually. Barry Bonds. Okay. He played 22 years in Major League Baseball. For the final. So after his first 4 years, so starting in his 5th season, all the way through his final year in 2007, every single season, Barry Bonds finished with more walks than strikeouts.
That's impressive.
What's the math there? That's 8. It was at 18 final 18 seasons, finishing with more walks and strikeouts. That even includes seasons like 2005, where he only played 14 games due to injury. He still, in that limited span, had 9 walks to only 6 strikeouts. Like even then, and his 4th season did not count, and that's because he finished with the exact same amount of walks and strikeouts, 93 apiece. So you could even expand it and say for his last 19 seasons, he never struck out more than he walked. You could even make it that. But yeah, a lot of the Barry Bonds stats that we're going to talk about like involve walking in some capacity, but to do that regularly, and especially because power hitters now in today's era, like it's known that they hit home runs, but they also strike out a ton. Not only was he hitting home runs left and right more than anyone else to ever do it, but he was also barely striking out. Like he never had, looking here, he had 100 strikeouts in his career once. He had 102 his rookie season.
Wow. That's insane.
Like no one does that anymore.
No. People are going to strike out double the amount of walks they get at this point, or triple for some of them. But that is a wild one. That's a good one. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Well, thank you for listening.
Hey, I got breaking news though.
Oh, yes. Hit me. Do we have our first Comrade Kamala in your Facebook comments?
No, our buddy Ben Fawkes, sports betting analyst who used to be with ESPN, tweeted out that before the debate tonight, Donald Trump was minus 135 and Kamala was plus 110 according to BetMGM. Well, Donald Trump has dropped to minus 120 and Kamala is now minus 110. So she went from plus 110 to minus 110 just during the debate. So what does that tell you? I don't know what it tells you. But Kamala,
I don't know. What does it tell you?
I don't know. I just thought it was interesting that the odds moved. I have no idea what it tells me. You know how much I know about politics?
I mean, the most. You're very informed on all the issues.
Anyways, so BetMGM, thanks to our buddy at Ben Fawkes, at B Fawkes, FAWKES 22. Follow him. He's a good follow. Good guy too. Good guy.
Follow Ben and also follow us. You can follow us. That'll do it for episode 5 of the Stupidest Sports Show on Earth, by the way. What are our odds that we get to episode 6?
Really good, because that's 3 days from now and I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Unless our sponsors fire us.
I need some good vibes. So I will do an early week best bet for betting. We will have an episode 6 later this week because I need to improve my 2-5 record. I got to improve it fast.
There are some games on Thursday. Of course, the Dolphins, Bills. So if you want the analysis on that, maybe I'll do a Spaces Thursday morning.
You know what? Let's do that because we didn't really hit it today. So yes, Thursday morning On what did you want to do? Our official account, your account? Which one do you
I
want
don't
to do?
know. I'll decide later and tweet it out. I don't know.
All right.
But
Well,
there's a college game Thursday as well. The Sun Devils, Arizona State's at Texas State. And then there are two decent-sized NCAA football games, UNLV at Kansas and Arizona, Kansas State Friday night. Arizona, Kansas State should be a good one, but we can talk about that Friday morning.
yeah, let's do a Thursday Spaces for the people. Talk some Bills Dolphins.
Yes,
I gotta look into that game, and especially with Mostert and Achane both not practicing right now, that could be a very different preview, like that we do tonight as opposed to on Thursday. So we'll see how that plays out. But anyway, you can follow us at Stupid Sports Show, no S or no W, I should say. Definitely put the S's in there. Stupid Sports Show on Twitter. Follow us on Instagram. Find us on YouTube. You can also listen in case you missed the live stream. You could listen to the Stupidest Sports Show on Spotify, Apple, iHeart, YouTube, pretty much anywhere you get your podcasts, really. And also, you follow us. I am at Big Time Tim Jim on Twitter. Rodney is at Newple Rodney. We're both very active. We like to talk sports, and we're very dumb. Hence why we're on the Stupidest Sports Show on Earth. Rodney, final thoughts. Do you want to get more political discussions, or you want to go to bed?
I want to go to bed. But before that, I know we plug our own stuff every once in a while. Peoria Fantasy Focus back on Sunday morning, 9 to 11. I know it says Peoria, so it's somewhat local, but we also have a stream for the whole world. We'd love for you to join in. I know D Palm over here in the comments has a couple fantasy questions that he mentioned during the show. I will answer you separately. He wanted to know who to start between Najee Harris and Murray Cooper at flex or Hollywood Brown. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Thank you for the question, but it's Tuesday. We're going to wait a little bit on that one. But Sunday morning, 9/11.
Good call. All right, go to bed. Don't get caught up in watching too many political things, but let me know if we do get the Comrade Kamala. I'm waiting on that bet to cash for your Facebook comments. But this was a fun episode. Let's do it again Friday for episode 6 of the Stupidest Sports Show on Earth. For Rodney Newple, I am Tim Van Stratton. And
so long.
Yep, so long. We'll talk to you later. Good night. Step right up, dummies, and listen to the Stupidest Sports Show on Earth with Rodney Newple and Tim Van Stratton.